I think we're live. Yep, I think we're live. This is Laszlo's building, and I have to change it. When we originally, he originally wanted these sheds on here, and I think now he's worried that his homeowners association will not like the size of this building. So I'm trying to figure out exactly the best way. All my views are set up, based on this location. If I change them, it'll change on my sheets. Here, these are my, I really have never shown this layout, excuse me, got a frog in my throat. I've never really shown layout. This is where we do our drawings. This is where we create our paper space, and we do our plans and details and our elevations. It's a little bit slow when you start getting into a lot of detail with these shipping containers and roofs and all that, screws, nuts, and bolts. So I think what I'm going to do is just copy this because I don't want to lose it. Excuse me. What I may do is just, the problem is these drawings, these views are linked to the model, these little viewports. So if I change I wonder if I can just remap. This is something I've never done in SketchUp before in the document setup under references. I don't know if it will. We might just try and experiment, and what we might do is change. Let's do that. Let's we haven't changed anything here. Let's change this to, let's save it as Laszlo's building. I'm gonna make this BLDG without sheds. Okay, I don't think I need to copy that because I think I can just link to it. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to copy the whole thing. And then we're going to save that. Now, let's see if I can go over here and just change this to, wait a minute. Yeah, if I save this as the same thing or something similar, container without sheds, save that. Now let me go in here and look at the document setup and references. Let's see if I can check references when loading this document. Does that mean okay, that's the actual file. Can I relink to without sheds? Open. Am I on the right document? Okay, so it says this is without sheds, and we'll see what happens here. This should work. I don't know why, because the viewports are named the same. And you can see it is trying. Let's see if I've got any comments. Hey, Kingpin. Thank you. You too. I'm trying something different here with my layout. Did it work? So if I go in here and I grab this one and I say update model reference, it's not going to change, right? I had to do this first because I needed to make sure I wasn't going to screw up the original drawing, and I've never had to do this before, so it's a good experiment. And I wish it would hurry because I need to get going. I need to start working. Well, I'm going to go ahead and change. What happens here is, and just for the fun of it, I'm going to copy this over here. Let's see, 300 feet. And then I'm going to delete this. What it is, he wants to get rid of, the sheds. So that would be easy enough. I got to get rid of the holes in the ground. And then let's just save this, and we'll go back to our drawing and update that elevation and see. Hopefully it will just be updated without the post. This is one thing about layout. It's a little bit frustrating, but what it is there's so many faces with these shipping containers. If you want to show them accurately with all the little bends in the middle. Now what some CAD people would do would just be to draw a generic box and say this is a container. But I'm trying to make my models look realistic, but this is the price you pay right here. It's regenerating this view based on the model, and hopefully it's gonna delete. Oh, good, or great. Now, what it is, these texts are actually tied to the model, you see? So now I can go in here and say reconnect to model. This one I don't need anymore. This one I can reconnect to model. And what is that little, oh, that's a little extension I did. And I don't need these. So what I'm hoping to do is working all of these. I should just be able to select all these and reconnect to model, except that that's going to be gone. And that is the, if they're not, you can also just, if I want to keep the note, I can explode it. Well, it's supposed to explode. Let's see, let me delete it. There's probably a copy of it. Yeah, sometimes, anyway. I know it'll work now, so I can just go in here and work on the model. So what he wants to do is, let's go back to, but first of all, let me say I love this version. I think this is a masterpiece of a container building. But let's turn off our metal roof. Let me get this to where I can see. Metal roof. I need to start. And then we'll turn off the sheeting. Roof sheeting. And I can get rid of these rafters on the edges. Let's see. wonder if I can regenerate this. Yeah, I can regenerate the truss thing. So I can just delete that. Delete. Oh, Jesus. What did I do? Does anybody know how to disable Kingpin? If you're still there, do you know how to disable the page up? Hey, Richard. Does anybody know how to disable the page up button? Because what I did was I hit the page up button besides the delete button instead of the delete button, and it took me back to a different view. So now I got to turn off that and that. And let's try hitting the delete button this time. So now, let me go into a different view too. It might be easier, or a different style. When I'm working, I like to use, something I can see. Oops, not that. I actually want to delete that one. There, that's the one I want. It's a little bit easier to work because you get the texture colors. Now I can should be able to regenerate this truss assembly, and let's see. Yeah, it did. I see it. Now let me undo that for a second. I had added these. I had put my own lookouts in here, so I need to get rid of them because I want to go back to the Medic extension generated, so they will be automatic. Thank you, Medic, for the roof extension, the roof truss extension. And so now I can just edit this, and where are my outlooks? We call them lookouts. They call them outlooks. I guess it's the same thing. They really don't need to be. We'll leave them there. Close. There we go. Now we need to, and I'm going to go kind of through this in a minute and explain these shear walls and things like that, but I wanted to get some of this work done. Tags, I want to turn my sheeting back on, fix it. Well, that's interesting. Oh, that was cool. I regenerated the roof sheeting, so it fixed itself. What is this thing? Oh, this is left over. Let's see, I do need to fix this. I want a 2x6 subfascia, 5.5, update. Yeah, you can see that, fix that. Yeah. So now we can fix our metal roofing. This is going smoother than I thought because I was afraid I was going to have to. Now this is my metal roofing. I like my metal roofing to look real and not an image. If you use an image for your texture, it won't show up with certain styles. So I like to draw my own roofing. And so I can just take, let's see, this one and move it back up. Let's see, what was I going to do? I need to go back up. I think it's 12 feet. No. Well, that's close enough for now. I'm going to bring it down like this. I just want it to hang over about 1.5 inches. Myself a little reference line here. Not sure why that didn't. Let's just do this. Sometimes things don't act the way you want them to. Let's go here and let's go here. And it will go. Why is that not? I'm not getting the axis I want. That's bizarre. I couldn't get it to go on the blue axis. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way. Oh, it's the green axis. I need to get this piece right here out of the way. I'm going to put that right there for a second. And then, so I can see this edge. Something is weird. I can't get my blue or green axis to show up. Let's see. Can you hit Alt or Control? That's bizarre. Alright, it's time to eyeball it. Enough of this mess. There. Now, I'm going to make this. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time this morning. This is usually easy stuff. And thankfully, since I had, since those sheets were components, this side fixed itself too. That's why I was spending that much time on it, because I knew it was going to affect both sides of the roof. Is that right? I need to put myself a reference to make sure I don't get that all weird. If I had been smart though, I would have made these rake trims components now these cut sheets, these metal sheets, these on the ends here had to be cut, so they had to be unique. But this is easy because I can pick that point right there, and then I can just run up here and snap it to that point. There we go. And the other one, is that hanging over? Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure that roof hangs over 1.5 to 2 inches into the gutter. Trying to stay on that line. There we go. Oh, that's right. I've got one more piece of rake trim to fix. There we go. Now, what else do we have to fix? Let me check for comments. Hello, Richard. I'm working. This is for Laszlo. And I actually like the other version better. I like this version better, but he wanted to basically, oh, you know what? Now, you know what? It's not going to do any good for me to have this in here, so I might as well delete it. Because I know I have the other version saved. I have the other version saved with the shed, so this is just kind of a thing here. So if I go back to my front view here. But let me get my style back that I like working in. I like working in that style. So I wonder if it's going to be quicker to I think I could just delete these holes like this, and they will heal them. It will heal themselves. Yeah, but I don't want that sticking out that far. So I'm going to go back. I like this to hang out about, let me get down here. Go there and then come out about 24 inches. Because it looks weird on the drawing if that sticks out too far. You're just trying to represent the ground there. I don't want to select that. There we go. This was easier fixed than I thought it was going to be, which is good because I'm not charging Laszlo for this because he's my friend. I think that's it. So basically, I had a little bit of a miscommunication with him. I thought he wanted to go ahead and add those extensions, but that's an option for later. He's going to present this to his homeowners association. Now, you might think, well, wow, you can build something like this in a neighborhood that has a homeowners association. Well, this is a particular, to me, it's kind of a special situation where they have these large lots. I think they're 2 or 3 acre lots in this neighborhood, and this is going to be on the back of his property. But going here, we have these shear walls, and these shear walls are actually required by code. You can imagine this long wall is unbraced if you do away with the shear wall. Okay. In a home, it's rare that you would have a 40-foot long wall without a bedroom wall or a living room or a bathroom wall intersecting it at a 90 degree, perpendicular to it. And those walls in your house help brace the other walls. They all work together. Well, in this, a big open building like this, you don't have any shear walls, so this is an easy way to come up with one. And all I'm going to do is attach it to here, and then you'll have OSB on both sides, and then there's blocking. Let me turn off this the metal roof and the sheeting. I will show you what happened to my blocking. I believe you know what, I accidentally deleted it. I'm glad I started talking about it. So what I'll have to do is go into the old drawing and get it. Let's do that. I want to save this, and I'm going to go back to the original drawing, which is, I think, a masterpiece. Just kidding. Now, the thing about this, and this is why I didn't want to move this, I can go in here and now I'm going to have to check for all the other stuff. I can go in here and copy these in place. Now see, this is, when we start to print our drawings, we set our sheets up where it's just all black and white. Because that's how we print construction drawings. We rarely use color in construction drawings, unless sometimes you'll see a rendering on the front, like a cover sheet. But if it's just, you're just, as a designer, you're just costing your customer money, because when you go to print them, it's 3 or 4 times as expensive. So what I'm going to do is copy, and you might not think it would be that much, but if you're going to print 10 sets of your drawings, it can add up. Now I'm going to go, let's leave this in the front view, and then we'll go back to our, yes. And I should be able to copy that in place, paste in place. Yeah, see, bingo. And that's why I didn't want to move this building. So what that does is it helps you tie that shear wall to the roof system, because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to tie, this wall should be tied to this wall, the container, and the roof. And what it does is create a really rigid situation right here. And this one over here is different because it's running perpendicular to the trusses. You can just toenail down into the, from the trusses, but it still has that angle, the clip angles, bolting it to the containers. And then we have our steel brackets. These are welded to those corner blocks, or shackle blocks, whatever we call them, and bolted to the concrete foundation. And then your 6x6 posts have these Simpson strong ties Or concrete got up a little bit, didn't it? There's a base there. This got, I wonder how that happened. It's funny how you go around, you start talking. And that, yeah, see, I knew that had a base to it. And what this does is these are Simpson, I think they're ABA. I've got one of them, the one I show for the detail. Oops, you know what I just realized? Is I'm going to create a new detail. I'll probably create a view like this that shows this and that. But what I had done is I had put all the screws. So let me go get, that. Let's see if there's any comments. I have no luck for any HO. Yeah. I personally would not buy a piece of property in a neighborhood that has an HOA. Now I understand why they have them, and if you buy a piece of property in one of those neighborhoods, you obviously have to abide by the restrictions and also pay the fees every year, which can amount to thousands of dollars. Let's see. I want to go to this one. Yes, save. Please save. And what it is these screws and stuff really start to bog your drawing down. I think it's this one. Is it this one? I have a post somewhere that has all the screws in it. Is it this? Am I thinking about this job or another one? Here it is right here. If you, let me go back to this view, this style right here. You can see. Believe it or not, I have a video series on this Metal Pro buildings that I did the animation for, and I put all the bolts in the building, and it took forever to render that drawing because I had drawn all the threads. I mean, every bolt had a washer, a nut, its actual length, and it was a mess. So what I'm going to do is I pick one column. If I go back to this, I bet you it's gone now though because I deleted it. Yeah, it's gone. I have a post connection detail. Of course, it's gone now. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, it should be gone. That's right. And this one. But anyway, I'm going to copy those screws. And I'm going to go back to this other. I'm not going to save this one the way it is. I'm going to go here. I'm going to say, well, I have this thing about saying no to saving, so I'm not going to say no. I'll say yes. Then I'm going to paste this right here. I can't paste it in place because it's not in the same location. And I'm going to show this. Why is that not lining up? That's weird. That's pretty good. You're not going to get them in the exact location even when you screw them in there yourself, so why should I get anal about that? It looks more real if they're not perfectly affixed. They do need to be up against the bracket though. Yeah, so now what I can do now is set up a view. I don't know how my concrete got raised up 1/8 of an inch. That's bizarre. this footing got raised up 1/8 of an inch somehow and covered up the base. The thing that's convenient about these post bases from Simpson is, well, first of all, they raise your wood post up off the concrete so it's not sitting in water all the time, moisture, and they have really good, this has got this expansion anchor, a 6-inch, 1/2-inch expansion anchor has about a 3,000 pound uplift, resistance. And this is bizarre. I don't know what happened. So, I wonder if I should show a little weld. I don't know how. If I'm gonna do a detail, I'll pick out one spot, and I wonder if I could show a little weld on here. Let me go in here. If I do this, it'll probably and it's not going to be exactly accurate, but it will indicate. It'll just kind of indicate a weld like that. It won't feel, will, that way. There we go. So I can just point to that and say, I'm sure somebody's probably, if I can soften that a little bit. Does that look like a weld? I wonder if somebody's got a weld. That's funny. That's funny. Let's look in weld. Weld bead. Well, what do you know? What do you know? Let's see what it looks like. It looks overcomplicated. Yeah, that's kind of silly. I'm not going to put that in my drawing. What you need is just, really what you could do is just copy some like you could do that, and then, oops, I thought that would have, oh, I'm not in the group. Yeah, and delete this, and then copy this down. Like that. Well, it's going to be a lot more than that, isn't it? Let's see if you did this on all your excuse me, all your brackets. Why is that not? That looked weird to me. There. That's good enough. And then we'll set us up a view. I need to turn off this dash line here is on the container layer, and where is it? Oh, is it in the foundation? There's a dash line somewhere. Expand all. Should be easier to, find, easy to find. I'll turn that off. I don't want that in my detail. And I just want to get to where I can see the footing. I want to be able to see that anchor under there too. So I'll probably do something like that. Get it kind of there, and then go over here and set up a scene, and I'll call it, well, I can use that other scene. Oops. What did I do? Let's undo whatever I did. What did I do? So I'm trying to set this up so I can see everything I want to see. Post a footing. See, I can just use this one. This was the old one, but I can just click update, and now that will give me that. Now I can go into my, let's see if there's any. Will the top of be welded to stop any water between the two metals? You mean up here? I'm just going to say, I'm going to show it like this and say, well, I don't know. There's a roof overhang, but I guess water could let me go back to that other view, that other style, and just for Richard, I'm gonna fix. See, Richard, see what you're gonna make me do. You're gonna make me have to do that. I gotta pull this down, and now I gotta go from here to here. And from there to there. Let's see. Am I going to do that? Let's pull this. Let's delete. Let's see. I want this to be symmetrical. So this would be 45 degrees. See what you're doing, Richard. See what you do. And I'm just going to draw it to here. And then, now see what you're doing. Now I'm going to have to go all the way around this thing. Let's see. It's all your fault. Go to here. And then I'm going to see if this will kind of heal itself. Since I got that. Now I'm not going to get, let's see, I can fix this by just copying this up to there and then cheating this one down. a little bit. Actually, what I should have done was just grab them all. So now, let's, I should have left that line straight across, shouldn't I? Yeah, because now I can put my other weld up here. Delete that. How far? Let's see, there'd be 8. That would be 8 times, that would be 32. Times 32. What? 1/8. I moved it 1/8. 1/8 times 32. There we go. It should go all the way across. Yep. Now, what I'm going to do is, since Richard caused this whole situation, I'm gonna go for it. I'm going for it. I'm gonna copy this, put it over there now, and it'll be fully welded for Richard. This is gonna be called Richard's Weld. We'll mirror that. Mirror -1, and then put it back. Where would that go? That goes. This would go right at the corner. Yeah. Got overlapping welds there. And we'll just push one out here for the fun of it. Alright, that's all you get. That's the, oh crap. I swapped my eraser across and wiped them all out. There, I know that's not a perfect weld, but in CAD, you know, it's hard to make things look real. Now let's go back to our view now, posting. Oh yeah, that's gonna look good. I think I'm gonna change it to where I can see more of that and update it. Now how this gets translated into the drawing is we'll go here. I hope I can reconnect all these dimensions because that's kind of a pain. Let me see if I can I can't reconnect this. I think I'm just going to explode them. Yeah. And then sometimes it's easier just to redo them, to be honest with you. Because, you know, you got to manipulate all the little arrows and stuff. And I'm also going to need more room. So I'll probably create another sheet. Well, I don't know. Let's see. I might be able to get them on here. I don't know what kind of scale I can get this in. What you do, you insert that drawing. Let's see, this is without sheds. You kind of get it there, and then you go select the scene. And this is that poster footing. And what happened to our, let's see, did I insert the right, did I save it? Save. Let's do that again. Sometimes I wasn't paying attention. Without shed, let's see, without, today's the 13th, that's right, this is it. Alright, so I should be able to change that scene to post to footing. And that is acting strange. Let me go in here to my document setup. And without sheds. What is this? I'm gonna let me see if I can purge that or unlink it or something. Where is that? 28 by 40 container shed. What is that? What is that right there? I don't know what that file is right there. Oh, that is this. So this needs to be I thought I relinked this already to this, to without sheds. There we go. I'm not sure. I could have sworn I had already relinked that, but I might have actually hit the undo. That's the problem with the undo button. So let me put this and then get this kind of set up here where it fits, and we'll see if we can get it at a scale that is viewable. What is Alex and his mom talking about in there? I can hear them talking. Now over here, I'm going to set this up to preserve scale so I can move these little things out of the way. I'll give myself a little more. I want to keep that corner of the footing to reference it, but I want to bring this down because there's no real context up there. But because I want to have a place to put my notes. What is this? Do I have two? I had two viewports there accidentally. So I think what I'm going to do is just redo these notes because it's going to be a lot easier. Well, let's see. Let's see if it is going to be easier. Let's select this. Alright, so I need to set this viewport, I need to set it to the back. Arrange, send to back. There we go. Because it was covering up my leader. So that's the Simpson ABA ZMAX post base. And this is the expansion anchor. I need to group these. Group. Oops. Double click so then I can put this right here and double click on this and double click on that and point to that, because you want to specify your anchor and pier footing. Let's group that. Since I exploded those, let's see, let's put that one right here and we'll point to this. And our 6x6 post, let's just move that over here and we'll point, we'll put it right here and we'll point to that. Oh, now we have this. Now we have new notes. We have, we'll come here and say Richard's Richard's welds. Like that, Richard? That's funny. Alright, now I'm going to get myself, what did I do? I'm fooling around here. Alright, so somehow I accidentally started another, that might have been part of that file confusion. So what I'm going to do here is this is going to say, why did I make these 4 inches? Yeah. So it's a 1/4 inch by 4 by 4 angle. Oops, I don't need that. Welded. See, I say welded in the other thing, but I don't actually show. Welded to container and bolted to pier footing with 1/2 inch by 6 inch expansion. I didn't get my anchor. And how could I make that look better? It looks better if the bottom, it looks better if it ends shorter. And what is this? What is this thing right here? What is that? There's nothing now. So that's pretty good. I mean, I don't. And then this number 3 gets referenced over here. See, oh, let's see. So I got to re-reference. Oh, I got to redo these dimensions anyway because they're not there anyway. So what I want to do is I want to reference that location, see, and I'll probably have to fix this. Put it down here. Make it a little bit shorter. And typical just means that anywhere you see that condition, you do that. Okay. Now I should have got this a little better before I went and fixed it. That looks okay. See now, what is that 2 inch? Oh, the 2 inches is the space. See, I got too much going on here. I think it's okay though, because it's kind of obvious when you put 24 feet between the containers, and then you put this is going away 60 feet. When you put 22 feet 9 between the posts, you will get 2 inches. So if you follow all directions, you will get the proper space. Now, all these dimensions go away. I was not thinking when I thought they should reconnect because I deleted that geometry, so I gotta get all these gone. And I'll have to do some oops, that was not good. Redimensioning. So I think what I did was I did this. I gave it enough room to show that that is 2 feet. Then I went there. Oops. Yeah, usually, I was going to say, usually SketchUp will snap to your last dimension line unless you're messing around and do that. Now I probably messed it up. I'll probably have to, oh, there we go. And then we'll do this. And then we'll put us an overall dimension on here, right about there. What's funny is I can move all this back over now since you want to kind of keep stuff to this side of the sheet because all your sheets are bound over here and stapled together, and it's easier to see if you don't have them so far in the corner. Better leave some room there. Yeah, that's going to look better. And this is our pier footing detail. What happens here is the top of the footing is formed up on top of the ground, on top of your subgrade, 24 by 24. That's where you get these squares. And then you just take an auger, a 24-inch auger, and dig yourself a hole that's 3 or 4 feet deep, however deep your local footings are required to be, and pour that full of concrete. This is kind of neat because you don't need a sonotube for this. You're just using the ground as a form, the earth. And really, we try not to, the general rule in CAD is don't dimension anything twice because it's just a general rule. So, but I'm going to on this anyway because it's kind of a unique situation where it could be different, or you might think it's different the way these pier footings are laid out, and it is. And it just occurred to me, see, these middle ones are different, and so I'm just going to go ahead and I missed, but I can go ahead and reline that. Oops. Oh, let's go delete it. Now the next dimension line should snap to that one since I just put it, yeah, there we go. Oh, I missed that corner, and so now it's probably not going to snap. Oh, there we go. And so here, I'll run this all the way out, and then I think I'll go ahead and I could have moved those in a little closer. So I'm not going to repeat this overall dimension here. But I am going to put this here and this here and then put this here. 42 feet. And not sure why this is kind of a weird dimension. 20 feet, 1 1/4. That seems weird to me. Let's go check our drawing. Let's find any comments. Hello, Gregory Allen Elliott. Good morning. Thanks for joining. I'm going to go here and go to my foundation plan and see why that footing is weird. 1911. Something tells me that I would like for it to be 21 feet to the center of it. I'm not quite sure how that got that way, but we're going to fix it. And I know that's not there we go. Now what's nice about this is this one lined up? It should be. I'm not sure how those, you see, you gotta be careful because you can accidentally select things. If you're selecting something else, you can select things behind that object too. When you're working in 3D space, it's easy to select things that you don't know, and I probably just accidentally moved that at some point. But now see, if I go to foundation, I fix my view and I save it. The nice thing about it is it should fix itself here because this view is a viewport linked to that update. And we should be able to zoom in here and see. So, still not sure why. If that's 42, let's just go from here. Why does it say it's 1/8 of an inch off? Why am I having these troubles? Well, we're going to move it 1/8 of an inch then. 1/8. Usually what I do, if I'm going to move something that short of a distance, I'll make sure I'm going and see how that moved. I'm going on the right axis, and then you can just type in the amount, and I probably just moved it 1/4 instead of 1/8. So let's save it and see. Well, I wonder if this is I was probably playing around and I didn't actually move it. When I was trying to describe how I move it, I thought I had already moved it. Now let's save this. Save and go back. There we go. Oh, thank you, Jesus. When you're trying to explain something, why did this get, see if I can't just reconnect this to the model. It's almost like this viewport. You see how these dimensions weren't there before? This is bizarre. You remember how I said I had to go back and dimension these, and all of a sudden now my dimensions popped up? Bizarre. But thankfully SketchUp allows you to reconnect these dimensions to the model. There we go. So that means I have a feeling that the viewport we were looking at was actually the viewport from the old drawing, and I just updated it with the new drawing. So I think that's working good now. All right, so what we want to do is make sure we have all the information shown that needs to be shown. And so if you go to the floor, I think this is actually the roof plan. I need to relabel this next sheet we're going to. But the drawing's starting to get a lot of information in it, so it's take a second here to change sheets. What bogs it down are things, yeah, see all this detail on these containers, which I probably, like I was saying earlier, some people, reconnect. Some people, and what SketchUp is doing now is all these viewports are updating to the new drawing, so I'm having to reconnect. Let me just select all this. Hopefully it's all gonna, yeah, reconnect. Except that this gets deleted. This is part of the drawing that we changed. And this is gone. This is, oops. Okay, not sure. How I grabbed that corner, but I did. If you're just now joining me, I had changed the original drawing to the extent where I actually just created a new drawing, and now I'm trying to relink these notes and dimensions back to the new, and I may have to explode these because they are connected. Where's my explode? They are not. They're probably connected to something in the old model that's gone. Yeah, because why am I deleting? That's the dimension for the beam. And I actually don't need these dimensions. Oh my God, the page up button. Why do I? And since I exploded that, I'm trying to reconnect it first, and then this should reconnect because that's the front. Yeah. This should reconnect. So what I'm trying to show here is, and I'm not sure how we got this odd. Oh, I know how we got this odd dimension. Your LVLs are 9 1/4. So from there, and then this wall has a particular height because of this opening height here. So that's why this wall has a strange height sitting on top of the container. And right here we got these little these are our shear wall framing here, these 3 walls. And hopefully all this will reconnect because I should just be able to grab all this. and reconnect. That's good. And this, move this over. This is a section mark, indicator referencing that section up there. So it was before, it was out here where the shed roofs were, and we deleted the shed roofs. So now I can bring all this in, make it look a little better. If I can make it stay straight, there we go. And just kind of hoping I could reuse this stuff. What I may do is explode it, then make a group out of it, because I know it's correct. Let's see. Except this needs to be adjusted a little bit for some reason. Not sure why. This is just a general note saying the trusses are on 2 foot center. Or, oh wait, that should say trusses 2 foot. That was rafters when we had our roof extension. Now it's wood trusses 2 foot on center. Excuse me. And this is correct. Explode. And that is correct. Okay. Up here, this is our section. So our rafters that we're extending out are gone now. We don't need those. This is the same. Hopefully that will reconnect. But if it doesn't, I'm going to explode it. This is gone. This is gone. I'm just going to redo the dimensions on these. This has to be rigged a little bit anyway because it's not perfect. I want that to be 2 feet, not 2 feet 1.5, and that's kind of a mistake. Well, the roof extension makes the truss tails. When you're ordering your trusses, you need to tell your manufacturer that you only want that tail 22.5 inches, because if you don't, this will happen. Your soffit will be too wide to use 2 foot wide material, and that's a tragedy because you'll be wasting a whole sheet. Let's say you're using like 4x8 sheets of hardy soffit, and normally you could just rip it down the middle and you'd have 2 sheets 2 feet wide. Well, if you make the soffit 2 feet 1.5 wide, now you're wasting a whole sheet of soffit material for just 8 feet. You could have got 16 feet out of it before. So that's fixed. Let's go see if we have any comments. Good morning. Thanks for sharing your work. Thank you, Gregory. Tony, I have 4 sons, and your videos helped get my second son interested in this. Oh, that's cool. Architecture and design. And let him know that you don't have to like get an architecture degree I had about 20 years of experience in construction before I started in architecture, and I got hired on as a detailer because I had also worked with CAD. I had worked with CAD systems. AutoCAD was the first software I worked with right out of high school, all the way up to that time. So I had 20 years of experience in construction, and I had CAD experience. So an architecture firm hired me to do detailed work like this, where I knew how things were built, and so they would. That's the wrong thing. Like I can go in and detail all this stuff because I know how it's built. And that's what architects need. Architects can draw the pretty pictures. If I can get to that elevation sheet without it taking too long. This I've got too much detail in this drawing, and so it bogs down when I try to change sheets sometimes. This one complaint I have got with SketchUp is that I think I have read that it only uses one core of your GPU. So I've got an RTX 2080 in my machine, but it is not using its full capability. But anyway, back to the architecture thing. An architect can design and draw these buildings, but they don't necessarily know how they're built. I'm going to delete this because that's part of the old. Now, sometimes it duplicates. This should be reconnected, or should reconnect to the model. Yeah, I'm going to explode that one. I'm getting duplicates. Sometimes it duplicates the notes. And that's because I changed. All those little buggy things happen when I changed the reference of this drawing. I went into the document setup and linked it to another drawing so I could save all my sheets. And that's where I'm having all this little trouble with the notes. I'm having to reconnect them to the model. And so this is SketchUp. This is the model. You see, this is the 3D model. And layout is the paper space where we set up our title block and our sheet numbers. And then on your cover page, you would typically have a pretty rendering type thing. But again, the rendering on the cover page has like shadows and all this, so you can see it's bogging down a little bit because SketchUp does not use all 8 cores of my GPU. But anyway, I'm going to start complaining about that. But this used to have nice extensions on it, and I just deleted them and redid the whole drawing because now it looks kind of funny because it's not taking up as much space. But I think I'm going to leave it alone. We got our drawing index here. And just some general notes over here. Just making sure people know that they have to verify their zoning and easements and permitting requirements, all that kind of stuff. Because I help people all over the country. And I've done, projects like this outside of the country too. So I have to have these little disclaimers like that. And I do make sure people know that these are not going to be stamped drawings. That's the first thing when I talk to my customers, that this is drafting service. This is not engineering or architecture. But for big buildings like this, agricultural buildings, storage, even residential up to 5,000 square feet, you're not required to have a license, architectural license. And that's why, Gregory, your son could easily get into this. My middle 2 sons are in drywall. They're doing great. They're probably making more money than the guy drafting. And because, anything in construction right now is crazy. You can't keep up with the work that's available, which is ironic due to the whole COVID thing. They're doing great, but I can see their minds are looking for new challenges. SketchUp is great. It really is, and it's not that hard. And there's a free version. Do you know about SketchUp for the web? Let's see. Got my caps lock on. And I can't type. SketchUp for the web. You just have to have a, I think you have to have a Gmail address to log in, but maybe not. Since Trimble bought SketchUp, that's probably not the case. But see, this is the web version, so you don't need to download it. And you can go into 3D Warehouse here and just search for models like, barn or whatever. And some of my barns might come up. But you see, and I shouldn't have picked barn because now it's going to be laggy, but you can download that. Yeah, I shouldn't have picked that. I should have said something like 2x4. I want to cancel that. Anyway, you can it imported it anyway. That's funny. I didn't push canceling time. But then you can see they can practice on other people's, and this is a little laggy, I think, because I've got both of these other things open. There it goes. It's loaded now. But see, you can they can get an idea, from other people's models on, how to, and they can go in and start, what is this? A rectangle tool, use your rectangle tool, then use your, this guy's got shadows turned on too, and that's what's bogging that down. My suggestion is just to start off with a blank slate and just play with some of these tools. That's shadowing that the guy's got turned on, and it'll bog down your drawing. And all this other stuff, I would just recommend starting off with a blank slate and just playing around with the different tools. You want to know, leave. Yep, we've already looked into it. Like I said, my son's very smart. I'll be starting soon. Yep. If they should be able to pick it up pretty quickly then. And of course, if they have any questions, they can always ask me. I actually do tutoring. I have a server that I meet with my customers and my students on here, and I set up a screen share the model with them, and just like I do with my customers. And it's like Zoom. It's based on the same software. It's just that this is my own server, so I don't have to worry about other things. So I think I have got, let's see, this is my front view. And traditionally in architecture, you don't do, like on these elevations, you don't show them in a perspective mode like this. Normally you would just show it in architecture. Typically your view would just be a parallel projection like that. It's kind of boring looking, I think. So I go ahead and do it. I'll leave it in that perspective sort of mode. I like it better. It gives more of an idea of what's behind. I can see that that's the back wall there, and that container is in the back. If I just do it like normally, I don't know, is that where, it's hard to see depth that way. So I like doing it this way, and I'll leave them all until it gets kind of weird. I usually try to use that mode back, left. If I know the cardinal directions, like if I know the front is north, all listed as north elevation, east, west, south, whatever. There's our cover sheet. Here's our, oh, you know what? I don't know what happened to this. What happened to this section? Oh, I think I replaced it with that perspective view, but I was trying to show here is where the, I've got these internal 2x4s that are helping carry the load of the roof on this building. I wonder though where that is on my sheets. Let's see, this is the roof framing plan. I showed that. And this is the, I think I was going to put it here. And now I can move this over because I don't have the roof extensions anymore. See, I don't think I want to get that close though. I'm just saying here roof framing not shown for clarity because I wanted to be able to put these notes up here. And because this drawing is wall, post, and beam. You know what's funny now? I don't have, I think I'm just going to call this wall framing plan now. Here we go. I used to have a row of columns here, row of posts and beams, but they've been deleted. I think I might put that section here because I really need to show those internal. One of the most important things about shipping containers is especially when you've got a big giant roof like this on top of it, they're not really set up to, shipping containers aren't really set up to carry a roof load. They're set up to carry floor loads. They're from the things that you're shipping. Let's see, now we want to turn that on and we want this to be hybrid mode. It's funny because SketchUp allows you to show this sort of in a raster or vector, but this hybrid to me is a good point to start. Now the scene I want is the roof section. No, not that. I want the studded section. I'd like to get this at 1/4 inch. I don't know if I can or not. One thing I've learned about SketchUp is that sometimes the scale is a little glitchy. So I click off here and then click back and then check the scale. And I know that's not right, and I think it's because there's a little conflict with that. So what you have to do is set your drawing here in parallel like that, and then update it. And I might just leave it like that because I need this drawing to be stable. I need this part to be stable. So I'm going to save that. And when I say stable, I mean when you show things in perspective mode in SketchUp, sometimes when you click on the viewport, it wants to change the scale of it, like it just did. And so now I'm going to click back on it and check the scale, and you'll see it's not 1/4 inch, but now it's going to stay because I've got it in a proper view, and I'm going to have to move all this stuff over. Let's Let me move this back here first. Let's see, let's get that right. I want that to be right. I don't know why that's so far out there. This should be right here. Usually I try to line that up with the extent of the dimensions. And I'm going to move this over. And I'm going to move this over. It was sticking out that far because we used to have these, and I'm just going to put this down here. And you got to make sure, after you get your scale proper, make sure you click this preserve scale on resize, because it will, if you don't, it'll change the scale. And so what I'm going to do now is go in here and get this kind of centered. And I'm going to get this kind of down here, like that. And then I can one of the things, Gregory, if you're still here, is make sure your sons do research on CAD standards, because just something simple as, how do you number these? If you have 3, how do you number it? Do you do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3? Well, there's a CAD standard for that. And the standard is this part of your drawing is the first part of the sheet that you always look at. So the bottom right corner, then you go up the sheet, right? And then you come over and you start up from the bottom again. So that means this, and how that works is, you see, now that I'm adding this, my 1 and 2 can stay the same. You see, I don't have to renumber anything now. It also has to do with just human nature on how we read things. So if you're, this is a building section. So, oops, I'm not capitalized. We had a lady who was really anal on the first architecture firm I worked for, building section. And she was like the CAD standard Nazi. She was responsible for reviewing all the drawings for CAD standards. And she got onto me a bunch because I was a builder, I wasn't, and I had to learn through her correcting me. And see, she would go nuts if she saw that sticking out like that. But it's good, she taught me a lot, so she wanted this to be lined up with that. If you had dimensions, she wanted it kind of lined up with that dimension line, not sticking out like that. And it makes sense because now, all this is kind of lined up evenly. But see, the architects, that's kind of my point I was trying to make earlier. In architecture, everything is about the optics, the appearance. I'm a builder, so I'm more worried that I got these piers correct, the structural stuff, and I'm getting ready to point out that these you can't really see them, but I'm going to point them out. Is that these are, let's see, 2x4s. You could use 2x4s or 4x4. And the reason I'm saying 2x4s is because you're already going to have 2x4s there. If you already had 4x4s, then you'd use those. Two 2x4s. They're basically at 10 foot on center. And that looks a little weird, so I'm gonna. She also didn't like it when your notes crossed something that was kind of important. I think I'm gonna bring this. So you can see she kind of traumatized me. But so then you just want to kind of go around, and you might want to, you know, point this out. This is your pier footing. And that's funny, even though I've already referenced this pier footing in the foundation drawing, and I've already referenced the detail for it, she would want to just kind of spread notes around. And it's a good idea. Like a good note here would be this shear wall, even though I have them shown in another drawing. And then this is permanent. And this is a good note because I want them to know that this is a permanent 2x4 brace. A lot of times people will do, you do these during construction to hold the walls plumb and rigid, while you're putting the roof on. But I want these to be permanent braces. They'll be. I'm going into the wrong drawing. Where am I? I want to go to my front so I can show. Yeah. And see, since this is sort of an agricultural use building, it's not going to hurt. I really just want those braces to be permanent. And that's why I'm showing them, cut, an angled cut on the ends. They're neater. They're more neatly done. If you were just doing this temporarily, they would be squared off on the ends and they wouldn't be neatly done. So just want them neatly cut and placed and nailed good and left there. Because this building, this top is sort of top heavy, and if you get a big wind, it's going to tend to act on its own, and of course, if you had enough wind, you would have problems with this wall here being unbraced, and that's why we have these shear walls in there. CAD standards guidelines for computer-aided drafting, or CAD, computer-aided drafting, to improve production interchange. Yeah. And what you'll do, there's different schools of thought on this. It's like on this sheet numbering, you'll have one architecture firm will want you to go across this way and then come back and go across this way. But if this is the old standard, starting in the bottom right hand corner and then going up the sheet, then you move over and then go back up the sheet. And what that does is it allows you, now if I want to add another detail, I can add another detail right here, and all I have to do is add another number, number 4. And you say, well, what's the big deal? Well, I've already referenced this. You see, I've already got these. Number 2. I got this, number 2. You see, these are all referenced. So if you start changing, if you say, oh, it's easy to change these numbers, well, it is, but it's not easy to go back and change all your references. So that's where your standards come in. They help you organize your drawing. And so going 1, 2, 3, 4 is the proper way to do it. And what else do I want them to know? So I got these. I really want to kind of, this is going to seem kind of weird, but I'm going to put this over here. And I really want them to know that I've got 3 of these. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm just going to hit the space bar, and then I'm going to this is going to be weird, I know, but I'm just going to, I want this to be very obvious, okay? Because I don't want to have any, I don't want them setting this 5,000 pound per linear foot roof on top of a shipping container that supports 300 pounds per linear feet without these 3 double studded posts in here at least. And you see they're lined up with studs here. So that's really the whole point of this building section, is to show that I've got these 3 posts in here, and I have this shear wall and these bracing. That's the whole point of that. Now, I probably should go refer to that somewhere, but I don't have a good place to do that, so I'm going to say that's good enough. Yeah, and your architecture firms are all about the CAD standards. The line weights are really important. We had the lady I was telling you about that was really anal about CAD standards. Why is this lagging now? She would want, like on this elevation, she would want all the edges in like 0.5, and then all these lines at like 0.25, and she would go through the drawing. If the drawing was perfect, like contextually perfect, she would go around with her marker and make she would make changes to the line weights. Now we've had issues with that in SketchUp, where it's difficult. For the longest time, you couldn't really change the line weight. You can't change individual line weights in a layer. So if I had all this, and we call it in the old days, well, we still do in AutoCAD. In AutoCAD, we have layers. SketchUp wants to be social media, so they call their layers tags. I'm just kidding. I don't know why they do it. I mean, I understand why they call their layers tags, but they changed that. That's a change. But anyway, if I have this whole, if I have this piece of roof, this rake trim, it's going to be in the same layer because it's a group. It's an object, right? Well, you can't in AutoCAD. It's easy. Because these are individual lines, you can select individual lines and make them a different weight. You see. Now there have been some improvements to SketchUp on that. In AutoCAD, you could set up your colors as a line weight. Like in AutoCAD, typically we would set red as 0.5. And then black would be 0.25 or whatever, and then you would just know to make this line red, you see. So depending on what architecture firm, sometimes they'll have their own CAD standards, But you get into a situation like this where you have all these lines together, for a model. You kind of want all that detail for a model, but then when you start trying to translate that into construction drawings, it gets a little heavy if you start making all your lines, 0.5 or whatever. So I've never really talked about layout much in my videos because it's not a popular thing. And most people don't use it because most people use SketchUp for just modeling. They don't use it for construction drawings. Like, in architecture, that's the whole purpose, is to get to this point. printable drawings. So anyway, I think I'll end it here. I've been going almost 2 hours now, and I'm pretty much done. I'm going to send this set. I'm going to go through and check and do some more tweaking, like here, since my side extension roofs are gone. I'll just go through and tweak some of this stuff. But I'm going to send it back to Laszlo and then see what he thinks. I'm going to add a few notes here and there. But hey Alexander, how's it going? I'll just hang around a few more minutes in case somebody has questions. I think I'll put a few more notes on this because now one thing I haven't really talked about much are these bar straps. These and I'm not sure I actually referenced those. Yeah, I do actually right here. 1/8 by 2 inch by 10 inch bar strap from container to wall frame. Now you say, well, do you need a detail for that? I don't know. It's a simple thing, but it's like saying, put a nail into this, from the stud into the bottom plate. You're not supposed to have to worry about that either. But if it's a special kind of thing that you're not normally doing, what have I mentioned over here? And see, another thing in CAD standards, you're not supposed to, on the same sheet, you're really not supposed to label things twice. Like you're not supposed to go around and start saying metal siding, metal siding, metal siding, metal siding, because if you change that to stucco, you could misplace or miss changing notes. So where I've said metal roof rake trim here, I might want to go over here and just say, and normally I would specify this, but I'm just going to say metal roofing, because normally I don't know what he wants, if he wants me to specify this, but on this type of, on a job where you're not bidding, like if somebody's building this for themselves, they'll just go shop and buy the metal roof they want, right? If I was contracting this out to a contractor, I'd want to specify the roof like 5V10 or, tough rib, whatever, 26 gauge. I might go ahead and put a note like that, or just do, going back to my own little CAD standard, like that, but that would be the only time I reference that on the sheet. And I haven't referenced any of these, so I might want to put another little note right here, just pier footing. And these are just simply for aesthetics, really, because you've already shown those on the foundation plan, and you've got them in the beginning. Here's your sequencing. You're going to do your foundation. Here's your foundation plan, right? So by the time they get to the building, this part, those are already there. So, I got a couple of notes because it looks good. Here I might say, 40-foot high cube shipping container. And I've literally haven't said that anywhere in the drawing so far. So that's okay. It's not like I'm reproducing. And I don't think I've mentioned, what else have I not mentioned? I haven't really mentioned whether, I need to ask him if he's going to put soffits. I don't think he's going to put soffits on here. So, normally you'd come under here and say, hardy soffit, whatever your material is you're using. I do have these shown on here, shear walls. You see, I don't mention those anywhere. There's really nowhere else to mention them. What might be kind of interesting would be to kind of ghost or dash in those lines where those posts are, and then refer to, I think that's important enough to do. Where can I do that? Do I draw that on here, or do I draw that in the, let's see, if I was going to draw just a line, can I make it a dash line? Yeah, so what I can do, then I can copy that. Let's see, do I put 2? And I can group those. Group. And I can copy those. I keep thinking I'm in SketchUp. I'm not in SketchUp, so I have to kind of, what I'll do is get this down here to make it look like it's in the center. I meant to, I don't want those lines overlapping, but I also want it close to the center. Hope that'll show up. Let's see, I already had it selected, didn't I? Again, I feel like I'm not in SketchUp, so I'm wondering, where's my tools, man? So there, now that's a good, what I can do is now, let's go find our, is that our, on this sheet? Yeah, that is 3A3, okay? So let's go back to our elevations, and we're going to say two 2x4s, 10-foot on center, like a top. And I'm going to say C, let's see, detail A3. Let's see, 3A3. There we go. So now we've indicated those, where we've kind of shown the importance of those. Let's see, each side. Does that make sense? There we go. Again, if this was being bid out to different contractors, or if you were asking for a flat price, you'd really want to do a lot more detailing and notation work and specifying. But this is really, honestly, kind of overkill for somebody wanting to build their own home or their own project, because you have to kind of look at who you're doing this for. Laszlo is pretty familiar with construction, so I'm kind of preaching to the choir on some of this stuff. So it's just kind of a remembering, a reminder to do certain things. We're all well, great work. We are all well. Oh, thank you, Alexander. I've been going for a couple of hours now, and I think what I'm going to do is take this set. What I normally do now is I shouldn't have clicked on cover page because it's got all that detail and shadowing. What's funny is I probably could rework that cover sheet a little bit because the shadowing doesn't show up very well now. Well, now, yeah, it does. Why is it not showing up on the... I guess it is showing up. I was going to say that the shadowing's not showing up on the ground very, very well. I guess it's because we're looking up at it. I guess if I was looking more... I was trying to show the shear walls, and I was trying to keep it kind of in that, instead of like showing it from a view like that, I was trying to keep it like that. There we go. So I think I'll just leave it like that. And I don't have my extensions now, so I feel like I want to move it over a little bit. So anyway, after I'm kind of happy with it, I would just export it out of here as a PDF, and it's set up on 24 by 36 inch sheets. And I'm going to call this without sheds, because I want to save the original set of drawings. There we go, on all 5 sheets. Now this could be sent to a printer, like I have a printer here in town, and see, you got your drawing set. They'll collate them, they'll put them all up, staple them, they'll put a binder strip on them, and you roll them up for you. And but now see, I have that set, and because he's thinking about doing this later on, doing the extensions on the roof. So I've got this set that I've already printed for him. See, it's got the columns and beams, and the roof, you can tell, is a lot bigger. See here on the elevations. So later on he may go back and add those, so I've saved that for him. So this will be his other set, and I'll email those to him. Well, does anybody have any final questions before I close out? 2 hours. I'll wait a second here. These are just some standard notes that we would typically, if we were bidding it, we would have, all this, all these kind of anal notes over here. Just to cover your butt. This is all the cover your butt notes. But I typically don't, I typically try to keep it simple, and unless, because most of the drawing work I do is for individuals wanting to build their own projects. Now, sometimes they'll get help from contractors, like to frame it or something like that, and I'll go back and, if they need more detail, I'll give it to them. Those are live feeds every Saturday morning. I do a lot of live feeds on Saturday mornings and actually Sunday. Saturday and Sunday is when I have to do most of my drawing work because we're building. I actually build things during the week, and I need to start a video series on the this house we've actually started. Where is it? It is the solar passive house. Save yes. This one, let's do our, see I knew north, east, south, and west on this one, obviously because it was a solar passive home, so that's our, it's just a real simple, let me turn it into a style that makes more sense here. There we go. It's got these timbers running through it. It's out in a rural area. It's going to be kind of cool. Got a little carport on the side, and then this is our foundation plan, or well, that's the perspective I did for the block layer. Barrett and I actually went out and shot grades on this one, so I knew exactly how many courses of block that it was going to have. And this is our foundation plan. And then I'll have a floor framing plan that I'll do when we get ready to frame the floor framing. And I got east. He's going to build a deck on this end later on. This is in an area that doesn't have building inspections, so you can pretty much do whatever you want. In other words, typically you wouldn't be able to have a door like that with no landing outside of it. Building inspector would get you. And there's your cover sheet with your cool shadowing. And what was I doing? Oh, I had done we're getting a quote from an SIP company, Fisher Sips, to do SIPs, SIPs for the roof. So I had done this view, and I dimensioned it for them in the paper space, in layout, and I sent it to them. And I should be hearing back from them soon. But we've already poured the footings on this one. We did that last week, so our footings are already in. And these steps 1, 2, 3, 4. He said I only had one more step in here, then they put one more step, so I'll have one more course of block on here. But I gotta fix that, and I gotta put some columns out here for the front porch, and that's what I gotta do next. But that'll be a different video. But I thank you guys for watching and commenting. It's more fun to work. That's why I do these live. Well, it's for the owners. It's for Laszlo on this particular one, and they can come back and watch and see. They may get something out of it. I'm hoping. But I like working live like this because I can get comments, and sometimes you remind me of things and we talk about things, and it actually improves the. I look at Richard. Richard got me to add a weld. Where did I put that? Where did I put Richard's weld? Did I put it on the foundation plan? We all need to get together and tell SketchUp that they need to get their butts in gear on this layout. This layout is a software that comes with SketchUp on the Pro version. So this is SketchUp Pro, so it comes with layout. You can see right there. It's our paper space software where we set up our sheets. But anyway, this is Richard's weld around the bracket. So he made me do that. So that's cool. That's a good reason to do this live. Get input. because I'm a master builder, not a master drafter. All right, well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one.